You know, the full name of Hong Kong is Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. It's special.
To me, democracy is really important, and it's sort of the flip side of freedom. Democracy gives you the freedom, and it also protects minorities.
I think Hong Kong is a pretty free society.
Indeed, the charm of Hong Kong, with its free and open qualities, attracts people from all over the world to work and settle here.
I came to Hong Kong in 1991.
4 months now.
13 years now.
3.5 years.
22 years.
12 years.
I moved to Hong Kong in end of 1989.
14 years.
4.5 years.
3 years now.
From June 2019, a series of demonstrations have taken to the streets of Hong Kong. What do they think of this storm?
My name is Morgan Davis. I'm 31 years old, and I have been in Hong Kong for about 3.5 years. I've been tear gassed near my apartment. The second they saw me with my arms full of groceries, accidentally walking into the middle of it, they pulled me to the side, they cleaned up my eyes, they made sure I was okay, shuffled me out of the area. When it comes down to the core of what they're doing, I understand it. I think coming from the US, we're used to having protests. We've seen a lot of those over the past few years. And I think it's wonderful when people are able to voice what they feel and to say to their government, we're not happy and this is how we'd like it for you to respond to it.
My name is Milan Ismail. I'm a PhD student at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, currently in my second year. Well, I was in my hall, which is, if you have the number 2 bridge here, then my hall is like right next to it. So I could see everything from my hall. On Monday I woke up and they were shooting tear gas outside of my window. I study here, but I'm still supporting the cause. They do got some minor victories, so I do feel like there's somehow more hope. You know, like the slogan, if we burn, you burn with us, this kind of slogan. So people got more radical, and I think they got less impatient with waiting for change.
Young people tend to express their feelings directly. They also appreciate this kind of revolutionary-like expression more. What are the opinions of those elderly who stayed in Hong Kong longer?
I came to Hong Kong in 1991. Most people came for a short time and left. That was going to be my plan. But it grew on me and I stayed, and I've been here 28 years later. The protests have focused attention on things like the economy, which there have been threats to destroy the economy. If the economy is destroyed, then what are the young people going to do? The young people are asking for their freedoms, and if they get them, but it involves destroying the economy as well, they're just going to be as worse off as they were anyway. In 1991, Hong Kong was the gateway to the mainland, the gateway to China. The generation at that time, not just the young generation, but perhaps the slightly older, middle-aged, slightly less, they understood China. They really did, and Hong Kong was the gateway. They also understood foreigners. As time has gone by, this is just my impression, but as time has gone by, it seems that the younger generation are out of touch with China, and China is out of touch with the young generation.
My name is Peter Bentley. I came to Hong Kong in 1981. Well, we're first of all one country before we are two systems. Hong Kong was never promised full autonomy. It was promised a high degree of autonomy.
呢個係一個被載入史冊嘅永恆時刻。7月1日0時0分，中國政府正式對香港恢復行使主權。
If you think about it, the young generation, if they were born in 1997, they would now be 22 years old. And most of them have never been to China, except maybe they go on 1 or 2 tourist trips, which gives them a slightly distorted view of China, because if you go to the tourist places, they're usually very, very crowded. I don't think the young people understand anything about China at all. And I think this is probably the root cause of a lot of the problems and the frustration and the riots and the peaceful protests, as well as the riots, which I think is very, very unfortunate.
People of different ages, backgrounds, and experiences have different positions, but there are common grounds as well.
When you make peaceful protests too, it hits the city. You know, you don't have to resort to the violence to impact a city like this.
I would say, you know, while I disagree with violence, I also believe ultimately in that people need a legitimate avenue to have their voices heard.
I understand the message. I cannot necessarily agree with all their methodology, the way they are doing it, the violence, the occasional firebombs, those kind of things. I cannot condone that in any way.
The current status quo needs to change, but change happens in many ways, not just breaking and shouting.
In some ways they may have a point, but I think they take it too far.
Before the storm, Hong Kong was labeled with food, shopping, Oriental Hollywood, and multicultural. The charisma of Hong Kong appeals to people from all over the world.
I couldn't believe how tall everything was, from the mountains to the buildings.
I have my few favorites every time we go for dim sum. There's my siu mai, that's my #1 favorite. Char siu bao, ha gao, chun fan. And I actually get cravings sometimes. So it's like, ooh, I need some yum cha. I need to go out and eat something. Because yeah, I love it.
40% of Hong Kong is national parks, it's mountains, it's beaches. There's hundreds of kilometers of hiking trails here.
Every weekend I spend running a lot, right? I love running trails. So here you find very beautiful and challenging trails. And you know that I'm taking the ferry, which is something very, very special to me, you know? You have a couple of more minutes, which are like a big break, where you can breathe, where you can reflect, where you can think. For me, this is a very, very important moment in the day.
For us, for all the foreigners, it doesn't matter where you're from. You know, as long as you are honest and work hard, I think there is a big opportunity for everybody here.
Changing.
Stuck.
Complicated.
Determined.
Convenient.
Amazing.
Resilience.
Chaotic. Sadly chaotic. But every cloud has a silver lining.
And instead of saying that we want to separate, we can say we want to integrate, but in a better way. And Hong Kong's very small, but Hong Kong's got so much going for itself that if they learn to work together instead of working against each other, let's see what the government and the young people and the society can do together. Let's raise Hong Kong instead of, razing it to the ground.
I think Hong Kong is resilient. The younger generation is stepping up, and they're changing the city a lot, hopefully for the better.
I've been a single mom for 20 years now, so yeah, they grew up in Hong Kong and they love this place as well. They call it home.
I still think that Hong Kong is my home.
But the one word would be home.
I think Hong Kong could be my home for the future.
For me, it's still home.
Home.
Hong Kong is my home for now. I love Hong Kong.